In the sky, gazing far into the night, I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you. In the sky, gazing far into the night, I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you.
see the light inside you, brighter than the skies. Hold on, just let us escape and fly away tonight. We have the world in
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome into the Coach Ty Show, hosted by me. It's Coach Ty. Happy Sunday morning, man. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Thank y'all so much for making this a part of your Sunday. Happy Sunday, guys. Happy Sunday. Let's get this music turned off and let's have some fun, guys. Welcome in, welcome in. This is actually the second Coach Ty Show that is actually on the official page. I'm excited about it because if you know anything, as a matter of fact, let me get TikTok in here too. If you don't know that we are also live on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, all of that. I was going to add Twitch and all that, but I just feel like it's better just to have this atmosphere right here where, you know, we're growing a community, and I'm very, very excited about that. So guys, welcome in. Let me get them in here as well, and then we'll get started. Got a lot of wild things to talk about today. And let's go ahead and get me, let me turn this off here. But welcome in, guys. Welcome in. Man, oh man. It feels good to be on the home channels. It's kind of weird, all the way honest. It's kind of weird going from my live on my personal page and then sharing it on my other page. It's kind of weird in a way because it's like, hey, is this really the page? But guys, thank y'all so much for tuning in, man. It means the world to me. Let's talk about a couple things on today's show. We're going to talk about, my argument about analytics and basketball. We're going to talk about Mason Williams. He's shocking a lot of people. He's shocking a lot of people in practice. Me and on Kentucky Roll Call, we talked about that and, what Steven saw on, doing the interviews, especially with Jake and all of them. It's going to be, it's interesting, and we'll get into that. We'll also get into the photos about the little get-togethers and stuff like that. So it's going to be a good show. Jack had a good piece on what is going on with what is going on with the team and stuff like that. So it's gonna be a good show, guys. Welcome in. If you are new, make sure that you are tapping that follow button. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button, and make sure on the red platform that you're tapping the bell to make sure that you know that when I go live, it will spam out everybody. So guys, first and foremost, man, Friday when I went to Kentucky Roll Call, boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I think that was the worst drive I have ever had going to Louisville. Like literally that probably, if any of y'all know, anything about driving to Louisville's, it's not that bad of a drive, but then again, it's kind of like, it's once you're on the highway, you're vibing, you're listening to music, whatever. But I think the worst thing was that rain. And first and foremost, thoughts and prayers go out to everybody that was affected by the rain, all the floods and everything. My thoughts and prayers. If you know somebody that is in that area, make sure that you do check up on them. Make sure that you are checking on them to make sure that they are good and all of that. Make sure that they're fine. But I don't think people know how to drive when it's regular. Then when you add rain to it, adding rain is probably one of the worst things to drive in my opinion. Snow, what I'm saying, you can get around in the snow, you can kind of move a little bit different in the snow, but when you have rain and then you have all these fools that can't already drive, it's the worst thing ever. It is literally the worst. Pretty much everyone was going like 30 miles per hour, had their hazard lights on, and literally I couldn't see a foot in front of me. Like, I was behind a semi with their, hazard lights flashing, and literally I could barely see the semi. Then when you get to the, and it's always like this. It's always been like this, and it's always will be like this. Is once you get to like almost to your destination, then the rain stops. It could be a tsunami, and then by the time you get to your destination, what happens? The rain ends, and everything is good. Everything's fine. By the time I got to the studio, it was a little bit of rain, but it wasn't like this big giant rainstorm that I was already driving through. Like, it was arguably I would say arguably the worst, one of the worst things that I've drove in through, to be all the way honest. I'm just being dead serious about that. Like, it was bad. But we get there and we start talking about pretty much like the film, not the film, but the interviews that Steven and Jack and all of them and Zach were all down there talking to the players and things of that nature. And a lot of talk about, Mason Williams, how good this young man is, how good Mason is. And I kind of, we had this conversation last 2 weeks ago was, how in his interviews, how good he is at speaking, how deliberate with his, words and things he is. He said he wants to be the hardest worker. He wants to do this and that. And I don't think literally you can say things. And we had a text in on the text machine say that, that's media trained and everything. And I agree with that. I agree. A lot of it is media trained, but also you have to look at who his father is, Mo Williams. So he is used to kind of the limelight, but also he knows what hard work is. He knows what it is to get in the lab and grind, get in the lab and do these things. He knows about that. He knows how hard he has to work. He's seen his dad probably work really hard and keep his body up. So being the hardest worker in the room shouldn't be anything new for him. And when you're being underestimated, when, you see a lot of these people say that, hey, he's going to be this, he's going to be that, he's not going to, he's not going to play and all that feeds into the motivation of, I want to be the hardest worker. I want to prove all of these people wrong. And I remember I'm going to put my instance into it. I'm going to put my career out there. I was never the tallest. I was always the quickest, fastest, whatever. I was always that. And there was always that, hey, he can't do it. Like he's not that good. Like, why is he on the team? All right, I'm gonna show you why I'm on the team. Because I can shoot from 30 feet. I can outwork you. I can do all these intangible, all these things that are vital to the team in conditioning. Last guy, that's come on the court. I'm getting on hey, come on, let's go. But no one could ever point a finger back on my face because I was doing the right things. I was always making the times. I was always trying to be the leader of the pack when we're coming to races, drills, whatever. So Mason Williams is kind of like the same way. Billy Donovan. It's kind of like the same way of, I'm going to make sure that I am outworking everybody to prove that I deserve to be on the team. Because, you got a lot of these fans and a lot of these players that are saying, hey, we only got him because of his, we only got him because we wanted his dad. Now, we can say, yes, that could be true. We can say whatever we want to say about that. But if we have a kid right here that is working his tail off and he's going to maybe get some good backup minutes and he's earning them. It's not like we're just handing it to him. We're earning him. That's the thing about it is this young man already knows what it's like to do hard work. Now it's time to prove it. And all these naysayers saying that, we're only playing him because of his dad. We're only playing him this. No, it's not true. It's nowhere near true. I don't believe that. I don't believe in a shadow of a doubt that we are going to play this young man because of Mo. Mark Pope is not going to play this young man because of his dad. He's just not going to do it. When we first heard him, when we first heard about Mason Williams, we thought he was just going to be a practice player. He's good, but then next year, it's kind of a development type player. Pope is not the answer in my opinion. Well, I mean, we will see. We will see what happens here in, the next year. Is Pope the answer? We'll talk about that here in a second when I get into the analytics part. We'll talk about that here in a second. I mean, we get, yes, yes, we will see. We'll talk about that a little bit more when I get in my analytics rant, but I got to give Mason Williams flowers. He's a stocky young man that if he's doing what they're saying in practice that we're hearing from Jack and we're hearing from, all these, especially with the guys from the KSR, we're hearing about that. And I'm listening to Steven and Steven's telling me, hey, there's some good things. Do I think he's going to start? No, he's not going to start, but he's going to get, if all is going well. I mean, you think about this. You have somebody kind of, you got Jerome Morton, who I think is going to be a good backup. coached against him and all that. He just gets it. He knows he's not going to start. He knows he's not going to be a star, but he knows what it's going to do. He knows what it's going to be, being that, that utility player that we need. He's going to go in there. He's going to hit some threes, not turn the ball over, be another ball handler, something that we haven't had in a while, and he's going to play his part. I think if Mason Williams gets in the game, he's going to be able to handle the rock, be able to, give a guy a couple breathers, and then go from there, and then we'll get, Zoom and Alex back on there. And that's another guy that I really want to talk about is Zoom. Talking to Steven, hearing him talk, hearing Jack talk and hearing all these guys talk about how good Zoom is. And I said this last week. I said, from what Steven said last week, and talking about postponing, not really, kind of making the media wait a little bit because he lost a game, and he's like, I'm not going to lose. Get y'all's butts back here, and we're going to play again. That right there, and how vocal he is, how just alpha, we'll say it like this, how alpha he is. That is an amazing thing. We didn't have that. We talked about it Friday. We really didn't have that. Otega wasn't really, like that per se, that alpha type. So to hear Zoom be like that, I think this is amazing. I think this is a great thing for the team, because that is what we need in your point guard. We need our point guard to be that junkyard dog, that dude that's just going to just be. If you look at Rondo, let's take Rondo. Rondo talks a lot of crap. If you watch, Rondo talks a lot of crap. That's just Rondo. Rondo is probably arguably one of the smartest basketball players to ever walk the world. He gets it. That's Rondo. But he's going to talk. He's going to get into your head. He's going to push your buttons. But it's all part of making you better, to make the team better. And I think that's exactly what Zoom is doing. Zoom is that, that junkyard dog, that alpha that's going to push everyone's buttons to make sure that the team is doing what they need to do. And yes, is he going to rub people the wrong way? A little bit. But at the end of the day, it goes back to my other point is they're all living at this lodge. They're all being able to get along, understand each other, and being able to work it out. The problem I had last year is a lot of these players did live off campus. A lot of these players did live, wherever, and they didn't know how to really, gel with each other. Because if you think about it, 2 to 3 hour practice, weights, individuals, that's maybe 4 to 5 hours that they're together. Then they don't see each other again. Right now, where they're in the lodge, they're literally, everybody is in one room, one house, one lodge, getting to know each other, eating, going out. Then Pope's taking them on, I don't know if it was Gaddy Town or whatever it was. Then they're doing that. So this nucleus and this team is being more chemistry. More chemistry is being built on this side than it is the other side, than the other year's team. And I think that's where it's going to be a big plus on this side, because now that I know, what my brother is really like, now I know, what buttons to push, what buttons not to push. When can I poke that bear to get the best out of it? When can I poke Frank to give me 110 when he might be at 60? Those are the things that you get to know when you get to live with somebody. You think about all you married couples and you people that live together with your significant others. You really don't know what you're getting into until you marry somebody. You don't know their weird kinks or their weird, different things until you marry somebody. Then when you marry somebody, you know what it is. You know kind of what you're getting yourself into that you didn't know when maybe you stayed the night over there, or you're over there a couple hours out of the day, and then you get to go back home to your bed. You don't know that maybe he, for the females, that maybe he keeps the, seat down, or maybe she, leaves the milk jug and it's got like that much in there that, those little pet peeves you don't know about until you officially live with somebody. That's just with anything. I don't think anybody, unless what's that one TV show, Blind Love or whatnot, where they just marry somebody from text messages and all that. I'm not big into that stuff, but hey, it's just like that. Like, until you get to live with somebody, you don't really know that person. So now that they're living with each other, now they're being able to see, who's the messy one, who's the one that doesn't clean up, who's the neat freak, who's the grandma or the grandpa of the group, who's the one that, is going to be able to literally just rally the troops. You don't know that. Now that they're in this lodge, I think that is an amazing thing. And what I'm hearing about Zoom is amazing. And I'm just very, very excited to see how that is going to translate to the court. Now, what kind of also makes me a little bit nervous is let me go ahead and pull them up here. Hold up. Let me pull them up real quick. Let me pull it up real quick. Let me see here. Hold on 1 second, y'all. I'm gonna pull them up, man. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. But that, what kind of scares me just a little bit is hearing some people say that, and I won't say his name yet. Somebody doesn't see a shot that he doesn't like, and that, in a way, that kind of scares me just a tad. And this is just me thinking, as a coach, just a little bit to hear that. When I hear that Justin McBride does not know a shot that he doesn't like, that just scares me just a little bit. And I don't mean that it's going to happen in the season. Sometimes I've heard that they gotta say, hey, he's up a little bit, and that's fine, but that's just building confidence. I am okay with that a little bit, but I don't need him taking ill-advised shots in the game. And that's thinking way ahead. That's thinking November, December, all of that. That's not really thinking like as of, kind of right now. But I do like that he does have his confidence. He does have, that box checked off that I was kind of worried about conditioning and stuff, that they said he came in here well conditioned. He came in here ready to go. I'm very, very, I like that. I do like that, that notion that he's in here, working hard. But kind of what scares me just a tad bit is hearing that he is taking some wild shots. But hey, we can fix that. That's nothing that we cannot fix. But I'm excited about that. Hearing that, this team is actually playing well together, seeing some of the clips of practice, not practice, but, some of workouts, watching that ball pop, watching that ball move. And, it reminds me kind of the first year team, how free flowing it was. And I got a lot of questions, not a lot of questions, but a lot of questions. And like, how do you know this team's going to be better than last year's team? It's just the fact of how well you see the interactions with each other. I'm not very concerned about Cam being in a boot or Frank not doing too much right now, because you got to think Frank is a 95-year-old man that has 12 kids and a 401k. Okay, that's just Frank. We know what Frank is going to give us. And if Frank can last between 10 to 15 minutes, we will be perfectly fine. I think if we're getting into the 20 range, I think we might be in some problems. But I think if we get 15 good minutes from Frank, we will be fine. I mean, if you look at all the photos, Frank looks like he's everybody's father on the daggone team. That's just, it is, it's Frank. Cam, I mean, I understand it. I would rather him be 100% for the season than doing summer workouts. Do I think it's going to push him back a little bit? Maybe just a tad, maybe a small bit, but he's an athlete. He's going to be able to come back, maybe about a week later, than what everybody else is. But I'm not too concerned about that. Cam is an athlete that knows how to get in shape. I think that will be fine. Now, it would be a little bit alarming, a little bit more concerning if we was going to say this in November where he's still in the boot or something like that. I don't put no I don't put no, red flags or, alarms going off of that. I just think that that's fine. I respect the young man last year for coming back, and wanting to, to help his team. But in this instance, it's summer workouts. You're second, this is your second stint in the Kentucky program. Kind of what Mark Pope wants, kind of what he, demands. So it's nothing new for you. It's nothing new for you to come back and pretty much legitimately, hopefully, pick up where you left off, because, at the end of the year, he was doing an amazing job. We'll see, we'll see. But as far as summer workouts are going, I think from what I'm hearing, from what I'm reading, summer workouts are going amazing. I also, we had a conversation, me and Steven has a conversation of, what would we think a successful year would be for Mark Pope? What do y'all think a successful season would be? In my opinion, I need him to go Sweet 16. And I had somebody last week say that Sweet 16 should be the what's it called? Should be the what's the word I'm looking for? Should be the norm. And I disagree. You know how hard it is to get to the Sweet 16 every year? Now he did preference say, not every year, but let's just say every year. That's rough. That's hard to get to the Sweet 16 every year, especially with Mark Pope and what we have right now. At least the Elite Eight. Whoa. At least Elite Eight. If not, he should be. Wait, I disagree. Here's why I say I disagree with this. It's because of this. One, I don't think this team right here, and in all honesty, I don't think this team right here is legitimately a top 1 seed. They're not a top 1 seed. They're not a 1 seed. This team is not. I don't even think they're a 2 seed. This seed is a 3 at the peak. That's just my opinion. This team right here is a 3 at the peak. And it all depends on how Mark Pope coaches them. That's just the way it is. I think if he has a deep SEC run, and I think if he has a legitimately Sweet 16 run where, we're not losing less than 10 games, we're kind of at that 10 to, 8, maybe 8 to 10 run range, I think he'll be fine and he'll come back again next year. I don't think if he gets to the Elite Eight, great. If he gets to the Sweet 16, okay, then it's going to kind of be like, got to lose the lesson. You're right. Yeah, you got to be in that 8 to 10 range, in my opinion. 8 to 10 range, Sweet 16 or Sweet 16. Then on top of that, a deep SEC round. And one thing is, you cannot play on Wednesday in the SEC tournament. You can't do that. If you play on Wednesday of the SEC, or Wednesday or Thursday on the SEC tournament, you're done. You don't want to do that. Yes, you can get 1 or 2 wins, but at the end of the day, it is not going to help you because of this program. This is the University of Kentucky. Me and Steve say this all the time. This is the pristine college program in the country. You don't hang banners for Final Fours. You don't hang banners for anything but a national championship. We have nothing to worry about because we're losing more than 10 games. I don't know. And if you know that, give me the lottery number so I can play tonight, so I can win $1 billion, and then guess what, Steve? Guess what? We're going to go on a world tour. Like, if that's what you think, hey, I'm all here for it. But I think for Pope, but it also depends. It also depends on what Pope we get. Do we get bearded Pope that don't care and is out there just, scoring victory after victory after victory? Or we getting the timid Pope with the unshaved, with the shaved face? It just depends on what we get with Pope. Like I said, I have no problem with Cam being in the booth, Cam doing, Cam things and, just worrying about his health. If he's 100% by the season, great. I'm not worried about summer workouts. He's going to be able to get conditioning, in the preseason. Same thing with Frank. I think Frank, we know what Frank's going to give us. Frank's going to give us hustle, heart, and, a 401k. What I'm very anxious to see is there's two people other than, Alex and Yazum. There's a couple people that I really are kind of like, I want to know what they're going to give us is Jerome Morton because of the backup role. I want to see how Jerome is. And from what I've heard, Jerome is doing very, very well. I'm very excited to hear about that. Then Mason. If Mason can take over and give us a good 8 minutes here and there and let Zoom or Alex kind of relax a little bit, I think that's going to be huge for us. I think it's going to be an amazing thing because we're going to give them pockets to be able to rest and then come back at 100%. Why do you think that's – what do you say? In Pope's entire coaching career, he has lost 10 games, and why do you think? Huh? In Pope's entire career, he has lost 10. What? What do you mean? What do you mean? He has lost 10 games. Why do you think that's going to change? What do you mean? Hey, are you saying he has lost more than 10 games? He's saying Pope has lost 10 every year. I mean, last year we knew it was going to be it's just what it was. I mean, Steven's video said it best. We was down 20 again. That was my favorite part, Steven. Again. It was a bad thing. Then the first year, here's what I think is different. And this is something that this is his best team. He had already recruited for next year's team. Something's changed. Mo, Steve, it is Mo, Steve. It is Mo. You're 100% right. It is Mo. But what it is, hear me out. One, he's never had this much talent ever. He's never had this much talent. He hasn't sniffed this much talent. The only time he's been around this much talent is when he's went to those top 100 camps. He has never had this much talent. But you have a couple things that has changed. Mo Williams, and me and Steven talk about this all the time on Kentucky Roll Call, Monday through Friday, 12 to 2. Make sure you tune in on Big X Sports Radio. Mo Williams has done something that a lot of these coaches hasn't been able to do with Mark Pope, and that is connect with Mark Pope. Pope knows he needs Mo. Mo knows that he kind of needs Mark because he's on this national stage. Why do you think that everyone is giving Mo so much credit as the closer and all that is because he can relate to these kids. Last year, you did not have nobody to relate to these kids other than Mark Pope and a couple other people, and it was hard. When you have Mo Williams, a 12-plus year vet in the NBA champion, who is coached, who has played with LeBron. Yes, these kids probably don't really remember him playing a little bit, but if they go to YouTube, guess what they're going to see? They're going to see him throwing lobs to LeBron. That has changed. Mo is there being hands-on with these players, telling them, hey, who would you rather have? Pope running with the guards or Mo? You want Mo. One thing about this is when Mark, this is the big thing. This is the big thing that a lot of people, and I haven't said this before. I don't know why I haven't said. I'm just thinking about this. This is the big thing that a lot of people have not really even talked about. When Coach Pope gets in those predicaments where you see he's just dead in the face, he just doesn't know what to do. Guess who has been there, and guess who has technically learned under arguably one of the greatest basketball minds, and I know a lot of people don't like him, but you got to give LeBron credit where credit's due. Who has he learned under? LeBron. Who has he been with? LeBron. So now Mo, who, yes, you can say coaching record and all that. He wasn't that good of a coach. You can say whatever you want. He was a head coach. Some of y'all put y'all's application in to be a head coach and see what happens. They ain't even going to call you. But you take Mo and put him in a situation that he's kind of been familiar with. Hey, Pope, listen, no. We don't need to do this. He's hot. Get him the ball. And guess what Pope might do? Pope's probably going to listen to him because, hey, listen, shoot, he's never put me in a bad spot before. Let me go ahead and do it. So now you put that nucleus in. Before, if you you kind of read. I wasn't last year. I wasn't in the sports media field. I watched, but I really didn't have this platform per se. So when you have him right here, and Mark Pope. When I'm sitting there watching Mark Pope not know what to do, and none of the assistants are really saying too much, just give him a little feedback, and Mark Pope's kind of shutting him up a little bit. But when you have Mo Williams sitting there, who is vocal, who is loud, who's going to tell you how it is, when it is, and where it's going to be, you've got to listen at times. Yes, is it Mark Pope's final decision? It is. But if I'm sitting next to a guy that has won a world championship, who's coach, who has gotten arguably a couple of them players, wink, wink, maybe more, who's locked down Ryan, your best as of right now, your best player that's coming in next year. Why am I not going to give this guy a chance to be able to tell me, hey, that's not right. All right, let me switch it up. That is what has changed from last year, his 10 losing seasons, to now is Mo Williams. That guy right there is his. You remember what was the movie? Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, where he had the golden ticket. So Mo Williams, I mean, you think about it, okay. You think about it right now. Has he not turned us around? He got us Alex. He pretty much got Ryan, and he got a couple of other players. So as of right now, yes, he is turning the program around because his relatability to these players. One thing we know, I'm not no insider. But one thing you can tell was these players didn't get the relatability to Mark Pope. They just didn't. Now, am I saying Mark Pope is going to? Okay, we will see. I mean, I don't think Mark's going anywhere. You're right, we will see. But I don't think at the end of the day, these players have somebody that they can go ask a question to. Do you think Alex is going to go ask Mark Pope what it was like to play in the NBA Finals, and the pressure that amounted? You can equate to play at University of Kentucky, because if you lose one game for the University of Kentucky, they're ready to throw the season away at times, and that's fine, because this is the most passionate fan base in the country. That's what makes us amazing. But it is a pressure cooker when you play for the University of Kentucky as a point guard. You look at all the point guards that have who hired Pope's assistants when he got the job. Oh, I'm guessing who hired Pope's assistant. He brought a bunch of the guys from BYU and all of that. Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, he brought a lot of the guys from BYU, so it was him. But if you look, how many of the guys have left? You know what I'm saying? Like that is the thing with Pope. That's the thing. Pope's got, but that's the thing. They might have not gelled with Pope, and that's fine. They might have came over here and saw Pope, but also you got to think of it like this. A lot of people jump the ship when things go bad because they don't know how to fix the ship. They don't know how to really fix the ship if they don't know how to talk to somebody. You take your job. Your boss is getting on your nerves, but you don't know really how to talk to the guy. So Pope kind of knew, okay, maybe it is me. Maybe it is me that I need to fix something. Once he saw all the coaches, now I don't know nothing. I don't have no clue about none of this. I'm just thinking in general. Maybe Mark Pope sat in a room when he saw 14 or 16 out of the top 20 recruits didn't come in. Maybe it's me, okay? Maybe it's, once we got that stat, maybe it's me. Maybe I have to sit in a room and say, hey, what am I doing wrong? What is it about me that is turning everybody away? Maybe I'm not relatable. Maybe this 6'4", 6'5", I don't know how tall Pope is, bald head, white guy, maybe I just don't get it. Maybe I just don't get it. Well, let me find somebody. A la Mo. When you're down at your worst, and you could say, he's still on the chopping block. When you're at your worst, you kind of have to reevaluate a lot of things. Do I think Mark Pope loves this program? Mark Pope genuinely loves the University of Kentucky. He loves this program so much that his recruiting pitch was the history of the University of Kentucky. That was pretty much, pretty much the selling point for Mark Pope. But when you got a guy like Mo that is in the current age, that is in the current generation of this, of whatever, and he's telling Mark Pope, nah, man, that's not how we got to do it. Who's been in the EYBL, who's been respected, who's kind of been through, the weeds and the agents and all of that stuff. And he's telling Mark, listen, Mark, that's not how these kids want to be talked to. They don't care about, the history and, and that's kind of what, and I'm going to go off on a little rant about this, is that's kind of what me and Stephen was talking about is, these kids really don't know the history of the University of Kentucky. They don't know the passion. And I talk about this all the time on a Kentucky Roll Call is seeing, Jared Prickett, and happy birthday to Antoine Barber, man. Happy birthday, big dog. Happy birthday. I hope you having an amazing day. When you see people like Twan and, Eric and all these players talk about, the love and respect that, they get just being a part of the University of Kentucky. You see, even players that just came here 1 year, the love and just the passion this fan base has coming into this program and coming back. And I'll put even to me, when I played at St. Catherine College in Springfield, Kentucky, to this day, I can call a guy named Bobby who was a DJ down there. And he'd be like, hey, come on through. And I could literally go to Springfield, and anybody that was in that range that knew me down there would invite me over for dinner. Same thing with these players is a guy from Eastern Kentucky in the coal mines or whatever knows Eric, knows Twan, knows John Wall, whatever, and would love for him to come visit. That's the thing about Kentucky basketball that I love and that I've always cherished, was how deeply passionate we are. And I think Pope gets it. Mo hasn't felt that yet, and Mo's kind of feeling it, but Mo also knows the business side. That's the thing is, Mo knows the business side better than Pope. Mo was in the EYBL. Mo has done a lot of these things, so he knows how to get these kids. Got to think. Pope really wasn't in the EYBL. He was recruiting them, but he wasn't recruiting at this level. He doesn't know how to kind of talk to these top level kids. Mo does. So that is the thing that I think, Mo knows. Hey, matter of fact, hey, Steven, we got one. We need a shirt that says Mo knows. Lock it in, Steven. We got it. Mo knows. Instead of Bo knows, we need Mo knows. And I'm going to clip this, and I promise you, if I see any Mo knows t-shirts and I don't get a percentage, I'm suing. I'm suing whoever does it. I promise you. And I better get a percentage. But he does. I mean, let's be all the way honest, guys. He does. He knows how to talk to these players. Mo does. I swear, guys, we're going to get that shit. We're going to get it. We're going to be able to do it. But that's the thing is, I do think that's true. I really believe at the end of the day, do I want to say he does it? I'm torn. And I'm very, very torn, guys. And I'm going to be very vulnerable at this moment. Do I want Pope to succeed? Yes. Do I want to see this team go to the national championship? Yes. But I really, really, really got to pump my brakes. I got to pump my brakes. That'd be a fire one. Get one ASAP. I'd have Kentucky knocking on my door, just like, excuse me, sir. They gonna hold me by my feet over the balcony, get the copyrights off that. Hey, excuse me, sir. Hey, we need that. We need that. They're gonna be knocking at my door, I swear. But I want to put my brakes and be like, you know what? I gotta take this with a grain of salt, because we've seen this time and time again. One thing I didn't like about Pope already so far was the comparisons of, Julius Randle and SGA. I just think that puts a lot of pressure on these young men that don't need it. And this is something me and the fact that I know it is as much praise as Mo is getting, and he hasn't got a Mo nose. Yeah, see, it doesn't sound right. It really doesn't sound right. Mark knows. I'm sorry. It don't sound right. Like, we need a Mo nose. It literally, it fits too well. Mark knows just doesn't give that pop. Mo knows. Mo knows basketball. Mo knows recruiting. Mo knows how to talk to kids. Mo knows how to get down. Like that shit, it fits really well. But like I said, I got to pump my brakes on this team. I like seeing what they're doing, but when I think Mark shares a little bit too much at times, talking about the SGA, the Julius Randle and stuff like that. I think at the end of the day, where was Mo? What was it? Jackson State? What was it? Nah, it was it was, what was it? I want to say it was Jackson State, wasn't it? Yeah, Jackson State. Yeah, he went Cal State as an assistant, Alabama State, Jackson State, and then he's with Kentucky. But I gotta pump my brakes. Like I said, Mark shares a little bit too much at times, giving those references, and and this is where it's kind of where Jack Pilgrim was like, "Hey, everybody, pump your brakes," but it's still out there. And anybody who can kind of see that, can hear that, and take that soundbite right there, and be like, "Oh, well, Pope said he's supposed to be there," and then run with it. This is kind of where I'm like, Pope, just be, give like he did before, hard worker. Give like generic answers. Yeah, is it dumb? Is it suck? Yeah, it sucks, but just give like generic answers to some of these players. Don't put them on that pedestal that's too high, because you're comparing them to an NBA champion, MVP, kind of. Even if you say the college version of them, okay, great. You can say the college version of them, but that's not what people think. When they hear SGA, they think the NBA. They knew he went to Kentucky, but they think of the NBA finals. When you hear Julius Randle, you knew, the Bulldog and all that. So that's kind of where I'm just like, pump your brakes. The chemistry from the interviews that seem is really good too. Yes. The chemistry is really, really good. Shout out to Steven who's in here, man, working his butt off with all those interviews. That man, like, on the drop of a dime, goes anywhere and everywhere. I like the interviews. And if you look at the interviews and you kind of look at like just the photos of practice and things like that, you kind of can see how legitimately free they are, how happy they are, how just like, I hate to say it like this because Frank is not a kid. Frank is a 45-year-old with 12 kids. How just being happy to practice, being able to be themselves. Like, if you look at the photos that they are putting out there and the videos, they're cheering each other. You didn't really see that much of it last year, but now you're seeing these guys build the chemistry. And I'm going to go back to the point where I made early in the show. It is living in the lodge. And I've said it. When you have a partner, when you have, your wife, your girlfriend, whatever, you don't know her really until you move in with her. You don't really know a person until you know that, she might have a problem with you leaving the seat down or up or whatever. You have, or she brings in the milk from, she drinks all the milk and it's got this much left, or all the, the juice got this much left, or maybe leaving your car on almost empty. You don't know those people until you live with them. You don't know. God, this is my clip. You don't know that who's the worst roommate there? Who's the person that smells the worst when they get out of the gym? Who's the person that don't take the shower? Who's the person that gets the grandma, the grandpa? You don't know that. You don't know how a person really is until you live with them. The Lodge is doing that. Last year, they all lived in separate apartments. Yes, I understand they're all millionaires, whatever. But you're only there with them 5 hours a day. You're only there with them maybe 6 hours a day or on a flight or maybe in the hotel room. You don't know that person like that. You don't know that person might be having a bad day. How can I help them? How can I do this? How can I do that? You don't know that. But when you're in the Lodge, when you're sitting there room to bed with those people, you know what buttons to push. He might be having a bad day. Well, how can I help that? Now, when you are going to Alabama and dude is pissed off about whatever, you know how to help him instead of grasping at straws to fix that problem. On the court, you might be fighting, but I got to put that aside because I could talk to him after the game instead of talking to him during the game when something's going down. Those are the things that are so vital for chemistry. Those are so vital for, the brotherhood, the camaraderie, to be able to get that to the next level. Steven said it on Kentucky Roll Call a couple weeks ago. He said that could have changed maybe 2 or 3, 4 games of losing and maybe added maybe 1 to 2 to 3 games of winning. So that is where this is actually being very, very good. And like y'all said, I don't see us winning a national champion. And, you say what you want. I don't see us winning a national championship, but I see this as being a spot where we're taking a step in a right direction by doing these small things, having these gatherings, even though, the gatherings is cool and, going out to eat with your teammates and playing, I don't know if it's Gaddy Town or, Main Live or whatever it is. I don't know where it was, but like things like that. And you look at their faces, like you literally look at what, let me see here. See if I can find, okay. Yeah. You kind of like look at, here, let's go. There you go. You look at their faces. Like you can fake it for camera all you want. You can fake it on main event. Okay. It's main event. Okay. You kind of look at like their faces. They're just being kids. They're happy. They're like like it's good to see them do like these things with each other and being, personal. I do think it's great that you don't see, what they're doing in the Lodge, but it's great to see them build this camaraderie, build this rapport with each other, and legitimately be able to be a kid. There was so much pressure, I thought, that was put on them last year, arguably through Mark Pope saying that they're a Ferrari. I think this right here shows how much things have kind of changed. And we're going to go back to that old school approach. We're going to go back to that. You remember the movie, Remember the Titans, where they all went down to the college and they had to get along. They had to get along. Now, am I saying that that's the same thing as this? No, that was a whole totally different time, but it's just the chemistry factor that I really, really appreciate. I want to go on a little rant again. There was a tweet that was made out, and I'm going to probably get some heat for this, but it's okay. Let me pull it up real quick. There was a tweet that was going out, and I have a problem. I have a problem, and if the tweet was talking about analytics. And it kind of ties in with Pope a little bit. I saw a tweet talking about, had an Jaylen Brown pretty much kind of said that I had an analyst guy telling me we view Jaylen Brown as the 7th best player on the team. I'm going to take that with a grain of salt. Was it true? I don't know, but we're going to take that with a grain of salt. But I do believe that we are getting to the age where we're trusting analytics way too much. Way too much, guys. Is analytics good? Yes, for some things. It's great. Algorithms, all of that, great. But when did we get away from seeing the eye test? When did we get away from seeing that a player can play. You knew when a player could play. When we watched LeBron play, we knew LeBron could hoop. When we watched him on ESPN, and I remember what was it? Patrick Patterson, I think it was OJ Mayo, played in Memorial Coliseum against, I want to say Scott County. When I saw Patrick Patterson and OJ Mayo, I knew they could play. Now, did they get beat? Yes, they got beat because they didn't take the game serious. I remember OJ Mayo was trolling the fans by pulling his pants all the way up to his boobs and shooting layups like a granny. I remember that. And I think it was Scott County. It was either Scott County or Lexington Catholic. It was one of the two, but I think it was Scott County. When did we get away from literally doing the eye test and studying the film instead of putting numbers into a computer to get the analytics, to figure out, what's this and that? Computers, a lot of people think that, computers are so smart and so right, but a guy might be shooting 50% from the left side, but he might get hot one day from the right. There's no analytics for that. So and that's the thing with Pope, that I think he relies way too much on analytics and way too much on pretty much being able to I'm not a big fan of analytics per se. And same thing with Pope. And I think Pope relies a little bit way too much on analytics and way too much on that side instead of trusting himself. And I have a problem with that a little bit. I do. I don't. There's not very many analytics. Can analytics dictate some things? Yes, it can. But I just don't think analytics at the end of the day is going to, be right 100% of the time. And then, when you hear that, these analytic guys are saying that, Jalen was like the 7th best player and all of that. Now, like I said, I take that with a grain of salt. I think, one, we can say when men lie, women lie, numbers don't, but I can finagle away. And I'll put it this way. When Pope, his last interview of the season last year, when he talked about Cal's last year record and Pope's this year record, okay, cool. This is a sign of numbers kind of finagling the numbers. But if we judge Pope by his first year and second year with Cal, it's a little bit different because of how many players Cal got, wins, losses, whatever. It kind of varies. You can finagle the numbers to however you want. So that kind of got me thinking, like, man, are we really relying way too much on analytics compared to what we should be with our eyes and, understanding what the true value of each player is? One thing I give Brandon Ramsey nothing but credit for is seeing my timeline flood with where he is in the world, from freaking any gym, any crevice that has a gym, any area that has a gym, he's there, and he's there, covering them. Hey, this guy does this guy does this. And that's the eye test. That is, you're seeing it with your eyes, not putting in a computer and generating, how good a kid could be. So I got to give him nothing but credit for that as well, as being able to be boots on the ground per se, and learn what a kid does well and what a kid does bad. That, I got to give that man credit for that. So, but when I hear things like this, it kind of makes me think, oh my God, have we got really that far into the analytical field where, now, everything is analytics. And my opinion, I'll say this, and I really, really, I really believe this. Analytics ain't everything. Analytics ain't everything. Let's see. Oh, let me read a tweet. My guy Dion Lee. If you don't know Dion Lee, he's a amazing guy out of Louisville, trainer, extraordinaire. He said this, and this is exactly what he says. People won't admit it. Kids are pros, D1, et cetera, but don't realize how hard it is to become that. Most peak in high school around their sophomore, junior year, especially holdbacks. They often get early offers, told how good they are, and so they don't work hard and ended up getting passed by. He's right. I just read that. He is so right about that. You know, it's getting to a point where it's kind of weird. If we really want to be honest, it's kind of weird how good these young men are at a young age, but then you see them kind of fizzle off a little bit. There was one kid, I won't say his name, you know, out of respect. There was one kid, one of the best 8th graders I've ever watched, ever. One of the best. And I'm talking about college was already going after him. Got full in his head. Didn't work. Then started slowly not working. Thinking that his talent at that time, his talent was like here and everyone else's was here. And then they don't work hard. You know, that's where, you know, we see a lot of these kids get so full of it. And to be all the way honest, I'll be 100% honest with you. This right here kind of, you know, gives them the platform to do that. You think about the Julian Newmans, who really wasn't that good, but they had a marketing juggernaut behind them, you know, with their dad and the different things. How good? Oh, hold up, tickety tock. And then when you go against somebody like a Melo, you know, and all of that, and see how, you know, he got dominated at 5'8", 5 whatever, you really start understanding how these kids at these younger ages are told whatever just to be able to, you know, get some views, some clicks and all of that. Before, you had to go to like these circuits and, you know, to watch these kids and all of that. So, I mean, it's a whole different ball game nowadays. But guys, I just want to say thank y'all so much, so much for tuning in. Like I said, I just want to do a little Sunday special. What I'm thinking about doing now, I'll go ahead and talk about this. What I'm thinking about doing is doing maybe like a Sunday edition one for about an hour or so. Maybe just talk about whatever, some UK stuff, some other stuff. Do it for about an hour, and then the original Coach Ty show will do our normal times on Tuesdays at 7:30, unless something else happens, like some breaking news, and then we'll worry about that. But mostly it's gonna be Tuesdays at 7:30, guys. But guys, thank y'all so much for tuning in, man. I love y'all. I will see everybody Tuesday, and make sure that you all are checking out Kentucky Roll Call Monday through Friday, 12 to 2, Big X Sports Radio. My guy Stephen Peak does an amazing job. Also, make sure that you're checking out. I will be there every Friday. So, guys, thank y'all so much for everything. I'll see y'all Tuesday. Peace.